Why hitting 1 million breaks most actual founders, right? The success milestone that quietly destroys more businesses than failure ever does. If you're a coach, consultant, agency owner, or service provider about to hit 1 million, maybe past even 1 million, or are really thinking to hit 1 million or dreaming about hitting 1 million, this video has been designed for you, and I want you to watch this video till the end, and I will explain shortly why. Okay, so who is this for and why this is so important? Okay, before we begin, just be clear that this is for agency owners, coaches, consultants, and service business lenders who are maybe past 10K a month, past 30K a month, or perhaps approaching or past even 1 million a year. Okay, and you're noticing something strange. Revenue is up, but stress is higher. You feel like you're in an actual time trap. Decisions feel heavier, and the business feels more fragile, not more actually stable. So I created this video to explain why the 1 million milestone breaks most founders, okay? And how to avoid becoming one of them, because I made the same mistake and I want to actually save you, okay? By end of this training, you will understand a couple things. Number one, why 1 million is the most dangerous phase in actual business. Number two, the hidden shifts that happens when money is no longer the main problem. Number three, the structural mistakes that quietly trap founders at this actual level, and why success often increases pressure instead of actual freedom. And what must change if you want to survive and scale past this actual point, okay? Because this is where most businesses start to stall, okay? Usually it happens about 100 to 150K a month you stall, then about 300, 350K a month you stall a little bit, and then you kind of, I would say about 5 to 700K you have a little dip again and you stall, and then at 1 million it's a really crucial point, okay? So a story that explains this perfectly. I've seen this pattern many times with a lot of founders that work for years to reach 1 million, right? They work for years to reach 1 million, long nights, sacrifices, stress, risk, family, all of it. They finally hit it, and for a moment they really feel relaxed and it's like a relief. We made it. But 6 months later, something feels wrong. The business is more complex, harder to control, dependent on actual them, and emotionally heavy. They are making more money than ever, but they feel trapped, anxious, responsible for everything. That's when they realize something really uncomfortable. And this is where I realized when I hit 1 million in a business, I thought, you know, like right now I can maybe step off the business, but at some point you kind of start to feel like, okay, the business is getting more complex because now I have a team running, so I need to take care of the team, and I also have clients coming in. I need to make sure that there's still high quality delivery. We still are all happening, all engines firing in all cylinders at the actual front of the funnel as well, so we're getting people in. We have a good client acquisition, we have a good KPIs and everything. And so this is still back of your mind, right? And you maybe be making more money than ever before, but you still feel trapped, anxious, and responsible for everything because in back of your mind, you can't switch it off and be like, okay, well now I'm not going to care because the business is already doing 1 million, right? A year. But the truth is, and I know that you know, the truth is that when you are a little bit off the business, let's say you take 2 days off, or like 1 day off, you start to feel like, hey, are the clients going to be delivered on time? Is the delivery going to be in high quality? How is their actual client acquisition? Is it still working? Is it breaking? What are the actual numbers? And this really brings that anxiety. We become anxious and we start to slowly be actual brought back in our business. And then once we are brought back into business, we become trapped, okay? So watch this video till the end. I will walk you through entire structures and everything else you need to know, okay? So that's when they realized something uncomfortable. That's when I realized something uncomfortable. They didn't build a freedom, they built a larger actual cage. The core truth. Here's the truth most people never hear. Failure rarely breaks founders. Success actually does. Failure forces change. Success hides actual problems. At 1 million, money stops being the main constraint. And when the main constraint shifts, the business exposes a whole new class of actual problems, okay? So why 1 million is the most dangerous phase? Before 1 million, the game is simple. Get clients, deliver work, survive, repeat, okay? After 1 million, the game changes. Now the problems are organizational, structural, psychological, and systematic, okay? Because at any phase of the business, your actual problems, the constraints will actually shift to something else. And most founders are still playing the early stage game in late stage environment, okay? It's like you also need to recognize the actual patterns. The start pattern is completely different to the middle pattern, and the middle pattern is completely different to the end pattern. Each pattern is completely different. You need to approach and adapt to each pattern differently. If you are 100K business and you are operating like a 10K business, soon enough your business will outgrow you and it will basically collapse. Okay? So, and most founders are still playing the early stage game, like I already said, in the late stage environment. And that is a mismatch, and that is what breaks them. Okay? So, the 5 ways 1 million quietly breaks founders. Okay? Number 1, complexity explodes faster than clarity, right? At 1 million, more clients, more team, more systems, more tools, more decisions. But most founders do not simplify, they add. Complexity starts to grow, clarity starts to shrink. Okay? Because they have money, and because you have finances, it's really, really, really easy for you to start to get more subscriptions, get more tools, get more add-ons, start to invest in different CRM systems. All of that starts to go much, much faster for you, okay? Because when you have finances, you can get these things much faster. You don't need to wait. But when you are, your main constraint is finances, you can't really invest so fast and so heavily. But when you have finances, you can do it. And sometimes what we actually don't notice is that we actually are adding more noise than actual more clarity. Okay? So soon no one knows who owns what, decisions slow down, mistakes increase, everything roots back to the actual founder. The founder becomes the actual bottleneck in a business that is too big for actual himself. Because at some point at the start, early stages, yes, we can fulfill most of our clients ourselves, we can do the sales calls ourselves, but at 1 million, that has to change, okay? At 1 million, many businesses still depend on founder for sales, founder for delivery, founder for decisions, founder for fixing problems, okay? So the second thing is the founder becomes the actual system inside of the actual business, okay? They don't have an actual system, but the founder is the actual system. This works at 200K, but it breaks at 1 million because volume increases, but human capacity does not. The founder becomes exhausted, reactive, essential to everything. And the business becomes really fragile at that stage, okay? Because I have seen this happens with a lot of coaches and consultants. They are doing like 10K, 20K a month, and everything feels like kind of good, but still a little bit heavy, but it's like kind of manageable. And then at some point, it's like they want to scale because they want to get farther on in life. And so they suddenly scale to 100K, right? 100K. Now, 1 month, it's cool. They're like, okay, I can still sustain this. This could be deliverable. That's cool. We can do this. Second month, you have clients from the first month, okay? And then the third month, you have clients from the first and the second month. And then from the fourth, you have clients from the first, second, third month. And now that's becoming too heavy and most founders can't breathe anymore, okay? They're becoming exhausted, essentially reacting to absolutely everything, and they become emotional, okay? So the third thing that breaks is money hides bad economics. This is really dangerous one, okay? This one is really dangerous one. Bad economics. I had that at the start as well in my business when I used to have cash flow coming in, and without administrating the cash flow, I would be spending on many things that I actually didn't need in a business, okay? At 1 million, many businesses have bad margins, unprofitable clients, and bloated delivery, inefficient processes, but revenue hides it. They say, we are growing, but profit is really thin, stress is high, and one shock can collapse the actual business. Revenue is not health, structure is, okay? Because if you look at the revenue and you say, hey, my business is really successful and healthy because revenue is growing, that's not true. What's really the truth of healthy and successful business is the entire structure, okay? It's like you may be building 100 floor apartments, right? 100 floor apartments, and your foundations are very weak, and you'll be like, hey, this is going to be one of the greatest buildings. But I don't think so, because if your foundation is really weak, it only takes a huge storm to actually collapse the entire building, right? If you are building a 100-store building and your foundations are weak, eventually the storm comes, you will break. And the same for economy as well, right? If economy doesn't have a good financial foundations, it will collapse under big big storm, right? Like it happened in 2008 when the big bubble exploded, right? So the same applies here. You must have strong foundations, okay? Because money is not just going to hide it. At 2008, everybody was making money, but it eventually the entire thing just collapsed, okay? So 4, decisions become emotional and heavy, right? At 1 million, mistakes are expensive. Teams depend on you. Payroll matters. Reputation matters. Founders start to hesitate, overthink, avoid decisions, and delay changes. This slows the entire business. And slow decisions in fast business creates silent decline, okay? So 5, success breaks identity. This is rarely talked about. At 1 million, many founders ask, who am I now? What is my role? What am I still stressed about? Is this what I built this for? Okay? They no longer fight survival, they fight for an actual meaning. And without new role, they get stuck between operator, manager, and actual leader, doing all 3 badly. Okay? So again, let's go over it. So we just covered most of it. So first one is complexity explodes faster than clarity, right? So this is the real failure. So the 5 ways 1 million quietly breaks founders, right? Complexity explodes faster than actual clarity, right? We have more clients, more team, more systems, more tools, more decisions. Second was the founder becomes the actual system, right? The founder for sales, founder for delivery, founder for decisions, founder for problems. Then we have money hides bad economics, right? Bad margins, unpredictable clients, bloated actual delivery, inefficient processes, okay? And the 4th was decision becomes emotional and heavy, right? Mistakes are really expensive. Team depends on you. Payroll matters, but reputation also matters, right? And then we start to hesitate, overthink, avoid decisions, and delay changes. And 5, the 5th one is success starts to break your identity as well, okay? At 1 million, many founders ask, who am I now? What is my role? And why am I still this stressed? Is this what I built this for, okay? But they no longer fit for actual survival, they fight for an actual meaning. And without new role, they get stuck between operator, manager, and actual leader, okay? Doing all 3 badly because they can't focus on only one thing, because they are de-stressed through different diversifications through being an operator, manager, and leader, okay? So the core mistake that causes most 1 million companies and businesses and founders collapse, right? Here it is really clearly for you, okay? Founders try to run a 1 million business with a 100K mindset and actual structure. And the same goes like this. You probably know about lotteries, okay? So if an uneducated person doesn't have any financial background, doesn't really understand the game of money, doesn't have really good economics behind money, suddenly wins $10 million. For him, he thinks his life has changed, okay? But if he doesn't have no emotional control, bad economics, doesn't understand how to handle money, I can guarantee you that in the next 5 years, he will be more broke than he's actually now, to the point where they actually get that before he got the lottery, okay? And that happens same in businesses, because your money outgrows your actual mindset. And once it outgrows your mindset and outgrows you, you become broken. And then it's only a matter of time until the actual money gets taken away from you. And the way it's taken away from you is by desires, emotions, bad decisions, bad financial investments, all just goes down the bubble, okay? So the biggest thing, if the business is outgrowing you, eventually it will collapse. You have to be to a point where you are outgrowing business consistently. Like your education, your knowledge, your mentorships, they all have to supply enough knowledge to you so you can outgrow your actual business. Because if your business outgrows you, then it's a clear mistake, and that's where most founders start to pay for their actual mistakes, okay? So founders try to run $1 million business with a 100K mindset and actual structure. They stay in execution, avoid design, avoid delegation, and avoid redefining the entire role. And the business outgrows them, okay? And that becomes a problem. So the 4 shifts that must happen to survive past 1 million. And this is the part that saves the founders and the most people, and this is why I wanted you to watch this video to the end, okay? Shift number 1, from doing to actually designing. Your job is no longer selling, delivering, fixing. Your job is designing systems, removing bottlenecks, and creating clarity. If you are still the main worker at 1 million, the business is already in danger. Shift 2, from growth to control. Before 1 million, you grow. After 1 million, you control the growth, okay? Because once you control the growth, you can sustain the growth, and then it's much easier to grow farther on as well. If you can sustain the growth, you don't control the business, it becomes a problem, okay? So control means knowing your numbers, knowing your margins, knowing your breakpoints, knowing where things break. Growth without control is how businesses die at actual scale, okay? So shift 3, from personal judgment to decision systems. So you need to have decision systems. You cannot anymore react emotionally. At 1 million, intuition is no longer enough. You need to have decision rules, escalation paths, ownership clarity, and feedback actual loops. So decisions don't live in your head, okay? Because a lot of times, a lot of founders are really creative. They have good decision making, but all those decisions, because they're not really plain and clean and understood, and they don't know how to articulate them, and they don't really understand how to put them in writing so they can follow an actual system. It all lives just in their actual head, right? Shift 4, from hero to an actual architect, right? This is the hardest shift for most founders because they have grown their baby. And I understand most of their businesses are their babies. They have grown them and they're holding the business hand, and they still are holding, and they can't let it go, right? So you must stop being the hero, the firefighter, the closer, and the savior, and become the architect, designer, the constraint remover. This is how founders survive a scale, okay? So simple diagnostics, really important. Ask yourself, if I disappeared for 30 days, what would break? Where do all decisions still root to me? What do I not fully understand about my own business? Where does the stress increases as revenue increases? These answers show you exactly why 1 million is dangerous for you currently, okay? Now, the wisdom most people learn too late. Hitting 1 million does not make your life easier, it makes your weaknesses louder, okay? It amplifies bad structure, bad delegation, bad economics, and bad roles. The founders who survive 1 million are not smarter. They are willing to redesign themselves, redesign the business, and let go of control, okay? So the final reframe. Failure does not break most founders, success does, because success changes the actual game. And if you do not change with it, the business will eventually choose for you. And once the business starts choosing for you, that becomes a problem, because that means your business has outgrown you. The goal is not to reach 1 million. The goal is to survive what comes after the 1 actual million, okay? So if you currently are going near 1 million or past 1 million, and you really don't understand what systems you need to have inside of your business, you are perhaps even guessing if the systems you already have are good enough to sustain the scale and to grow farther on. And if you need new set of eyes to look at your business, tell you what's happening inside your business, analyze your systems, diagnose your business to tell you what is needed, then in the description you can book a call, which is a simple audit call. We jump on a call, we audit your business, we go through all the diagnostics, x-raying your business, diagnosing entire systems that you already have, entire processes, to better let you know what's exactly happening in your business and what you need to do. If you need a diagnostic audit call, go now, right now, take action. Go to the description and book in your actual audit call. We will jump on a call. We have nothing to sell you, by the way. We will simply audit your entire systems, your entire business, and help you to understand what is what and what is working and what is not working and what you should be paying attention to, okay? So super important. So you can book that in the description. Next thing is, I hope this really delivered a massive amounts of value to you. And the reason I'm saying this is because I want to help a lot of business owners to understand what is required in order for them to actually scale their businesses, and how can I actually help them to scale business. And the only way I can find out how I can help, if you help me to grow my channel. So if you comment down below maybe on another content piece that I can create, subscribe to my channel, comment, like it. It will help with the algorithm. It will help to get this message out to more people that actually need to see it so they can actually grow their business.